I'm Harry Rock, and welcome to another edition of the Westfield Council on Aging Presents. This is a special collaborative program co-sponsored by Tina Gorman, Executive Director of the Westfield Council on Aging and the Westfield Senior Center, and Pete Coles, the producer of WCPC Westfield Cable Channel 15. Our topic today is Thrive, which is the United Way's one-stop financial success center. And I am thrilled to welcome as our guest Jen Fernandez, who is the financial coach for the United Way of Pioneer Valley. So, Jen, welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you for having me, Harry.
Yeah. So how long have you worked with the United Way?
I have been with the United Way of Pioneer Valley for almost 4.5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're doing financial planning essentially with people.
I am one of the financial coaches of the Thrive program. We have another part-time coach as well.
And how did you get involved in this? Do you have a financial background or?
Well, I got my master's degree in counseling psychology, and I've done all aspects of the field. So I've done the one-on-one counseling, I've done the administrative side of things. I was a career and academic advisor for quite some time at Holyoke Community College for students getting their GED, and networked and got into United Way for the Thrive program. We did a lot of training. And so we're certified to be, a financial coach, as a financial coach.
And now how many coaches are there?
So there's me, and then there's a part-time coach, Emmanuel Reyes. He's part-time, and he takes clients as well, and it's great because he speaks Spanish. I don't.
That's important,
That's
right?
important, right.
Right. And obviously you enjoy what you're doing
I
because
do.
you've been there 4.5 years.
4.5 years.
That's pretty significant.
It's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. Watching people be a part of their journey to reach their financial goals it's pretty rewarding.
So let's define Thrive because, I was excited to do this interview with you because I've never heard of it before. And, when Tina Gorman, she's the one who feeds all of our ideas and our guests and for the show, sent your name and the background, I said, gee, here's one topic that I know absolutely nothing about. So I said, I'm going to be learning as much as anybody else watching. So what is Thrive?
So Thrive is a one-stop financial success center. And the key thing I want everybody to know is that it's free and it's open to anybody in the community. So I have had clients range from college age all the way to, I think I have one in my 70s. So I've had couples as well. So that's the key thing. It's free and it's open to anybody in the community. And the nice thing, and I'll talk a little bit about this more, is that it's a confidential individual financial coaching. So we're not doing it in a big, large group. It's just one-on-one. So the client gets individualized attention. The overall goal of Thrive is really to help people reach a better financial well-being, if that makes sense. So we're helping people to reach their financial goals. A lot of them kind of know what their goals are, but have never really solidified them and had a coach to help them reach those goals. So to become more confident about their finances, feel better about themselves financially, and kind of for the first time take the reins and get a grasp on their financial journey.
So how does a person know that they need help? How would they know that they need Thrive in their life?
It's interesting because all the people that have called me to set up appointments, they actually know. It's interesting. They actually, I'll question them. I'm going to ask them what they might need help with, but right away they pretty much know I need to increase my credit. I'm not, good at budgeting or managing my money. A lot of them want to get that house, and they know they need the help but aren't sure what steps to take, but they can identify the areas that they need help with. So whether it's debt reduction, like I said, trying to increase their credit score, trying to budget, manage, save their money, they actually know when they call me. They just need someone to hold them accountable and have someone help them reach those goals.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's interesting, yeah.
So now, and where do you do this?
Well, Pre-COVID, I was in Holyoke 3 days a week, right on Maple Street in what we call the PAFIC, the McNilly building.
Oh, okay.
And 2 days a week, I was in Westfield in the Westfield Athenaeum. So our coaching model, just so people know, is in person. But then due to the pandemic, unfortunately, Thrive has always been up and running, which is important for people to know during the pandemic. But then it became over the phone, virtual. But you know what? The appointments went great. It still went really well. And right now they still are over the phone. Now that things are hopefully loosening up a little bit, I'm hoping at some point to get back to in-person coaching.
Right. That's interesting. And is it one session? Is it multiple sessions?
So it's multiple sessions because finances take time.
And how long is a session?
Well, Harry, I'm very thorough. So it can take anywhere, especially like an intake, the first time that we do an appointment, 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends on the client. Some of my appointments, though, even if it's not the intake, can run an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on what we're working on. But it's all on what the client needs. So time frame, if, they only have so much time, we'll finish the next time. But usually clients do monthly
Okay.
appointments.
And is it ongoing, or is it like 3
Ongoing.
months or 6 months or a year or?
So it's ongoing. There's not a time frame at all. However much time the client needs. I've had clients for the over 4 years that I've been doing this. And some people have reached their
wow.
goals, but still want that person to hold them accountable. So they stick around. They like having someone to hold their hand. They like someone to hold them accountable to keep their goals continuing on track. So there's no end date.
So I call up on the phone and I say, Jen, my name's Harry Rock. My finances are a mess. I'm struggling to pay my rent. I would love to buy a house at some point. My credit card is way over spent. So we set up an appointment. Do I then bring in all my finances with me? What does an appointment look like, and what do I need to have available?
So it's a good question. A lot of clients ask me that. To start off, the first appointment is the intake. So you're coming in, and it's important for me to build a relationship with that client. That's the key thing. So yes, we're going to work on all the concrete financial goals, but it's important for me to build a relationship with them. So we do the intake, and the first thing that we do is we set goals. So I'm very big on goal setting. It gives them the foundation that they need to work through the program. What are their goals? Making it concrete for them, making it visual, breaking it down into tasks. Very, very baby steps in Thrive. So we do a lot of goal setting before we even get to the money part of the intake. So it's really important because a lot of them kind of know what they need to work on, but it's important to kind of write it out into goals. Once we identify the goals, then I know exactly what it is that they want to work on. So that's what the intake looks like. From there, we start working on their goals, and it's a lot. It's a lot. There's, financial sheets and tools that we use, and it's
Oh, wow.
there's a lot. We work on debt reduction. We work on a lot of people have debt, so we work on a concrete plan to reduce their debt. We work on money management and budgeting. So we do a budget sheet every time we meet. There's 3 financial sheets that we go over. Really showing them what are their expenses every month, what are they spending, what are they left with at the end of the month, are they living within their means or not. But it takes time to really explain this to them and take the time to provide a lot of educational information. People want to work on increasing their credit score, which takes time. So there's a lot of educational information about how do you increase your score and understanding your score. It's really important to understand not just that there's 3 numbers, but what are the factors behind the credit score. We do credit reports. We do savings, so helping to increase your savings or start from the beginning. I do a lot of referrals to resources in the community. We have a free tax preparation program called VITA.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And it's usually in person. This year, again, it was different because of the pandemic, but we do have during the tax season a free program where volunteers are certified to do people's taxes. So instead of going to H&R Block and spending all this money, they can call up a number and set up an appointment. So there's a lot to Thrive that we do. And depending on the client, there's a lot of other things that take place in between the goals that we set.
What does Thrive stand for? Is it an acronym?
No, it's
or
not.
Is it just it's just a word?
It's just a word.
Okay.
I think Thrive. It's funny when we do the presentation. The first slide is money, kind of growing out of soil. So in my presentation, I'll ask people, well, what do you think this means? So we kind of think of it as you're thriving. You're learning to thrive with your finances. You're learning to kind of bloom. It takes time. Money doesn't grow on trees. So it's
Darn it.
I know, right? We wish, but it's trying to show them like you have to start somewhere,
Right.
and getting help with Thrive and getting that financial coaching and meeting monthly and being consistent really helps you to build up on your confidence with your finances.
So have you had good success with this?
Really good success, and I'm not just saying that. We've had really good success stories. Again, this is my baby. I've been on this for almost 4.5 years. We've seen people get houses. So one of my first clients, she goes way back. She worked real hard and she got a house. I have some clients over at Christina's house, and those moms there have gotten houses. I've had clients, their debt has gone way down. I've had clients where their scores have really increased. Now it's over time, but it's really amazing to see, I'll put in 110% with them. If they do the same, it's truly amazing to see. It's really amazing because I'm with them every month, and to see the end result is pretty amazing.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What is the area that you serve?
So we do Hampden County.
Okay.
So that's our catchment area. And again, like I said, I used to be in person. I did forget to mention, besides Holyoke and Westfield, I also did Thrive on the Go. This is a term for us. And we have a wrapped vehicle that has Thrive on it. And
wow.
yeah, so we went out to some of the towns like Huntington, Chicopee, Palmer, Munson.
Oh, wow.
I think I said Huntington. And we would try to reach those people that are kind of far and couldn't get to us. Mm-hmm. And so I went out to those areas as well pre-COVID. So we're trying to help and serve as many people as we can.
What are some of the challenges that people have when it comes to really managing their money, and how do they necessarily get into trouble in the first place?
Well, it's easy to get into trouble because most people that we serve are low to moderate income people.
Okay.
Just to start that off. So some are working and or are also on benefits. So whether it's DTA, like cash assistance, or Social Security, some like right now we're getting unemployment. Some of them are just spending money and not realizing how much it adds up. So, which is very easy to do. So on that budget sheet, for example, like dining out is an expense. It covers all expenses on this sheet. And a lot of people that are low income this is just an example, have really high dining out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so this is just an example, but it just, they're not realizing for all of us, you just go swipe your card, you don't really
it
think
adds
twice.
up fast.
They come to Thrive though, and it's pretty eye-opening because when I show them, they never really have concretely seen their numbers. Who sits down and has time for that? So when I do that with them, they're like, wow, oh my God, I had no idea I'm spending this much. So see what I'm saying? So when they come to Thrive, all these things open up and they get a concrete and a visual and they get actual numbers on a piece of paper. And it's the first time for many of them that they're realizing how much they're spending. Or how much debt they're increasing. So then when they come to Thrive and they get the coaching, so we're able to help them like realize that, you know, teaching them how to reduce those expenses and reallocate that money they're saving to something else, like a priority. So if you save a decent amount of money on spending out and you have debt, well, now we're educating them how to reallocate that money to like a credit card payment. So it's a lot of educational information.
Right.
It's a lot of educational information. And we use tools like spending tracker sheets to track their expenses every month. We use bill calendars to keep them on track, to pay on time. So we do a lot of concrete tools as well.
That's really interesting. So it really is a lot of really looking at people's lifestyle and really modifying or changing their lifestyle when it comes to their spending habits.
I'm glad you said that because, and I'll tell them that it's a lifestyle change.
Right.
It's a lifestyle change for many, and it's not easy. It's really not easy. I don't blame them. You know, they've done it this way for years. You know, and it's just how they've been. And so now it's like they come to Thrive, and it's challenging for them. And we also have to keep in mind that some of these clients that I have also just have life challenges. You know, they've got kids, or they're just trying to make ends meet. Even if they're getting government assistance, they're trying to make ends meet. So when they want to work on savings, for example, the obstacle is, well, I'm just paying my bills. So how am I supposed to save?
Right.
So it's kind of looking at all the pieces of their financial information and seeing, well, how can we do this? You know, can we reduce some expenses so you maybe can start saving? You know, so there's also just life challenges that get in the way too, that we need to work on.
I'm guessing that, and you don't go out and identify people; they're finding you.
They're finding me.
They're coming in. So
Well,
So
yes.
in many cases, because they're looking for you, they're self-motivated, so they're willing to take your suggestions and make those
Yes.
changes. They're not fighting it and saying, "Well,
No.
I'm not gonna, I'm still going to go out and have dinner 3 nights a week at my favorite restaurant."
That's the thing is they're not. I haven't had. This is the truth. I haven't had one client that has said no. I'm not doing that. They're so open. It's amazing. They're so open. Now, have clients slipped? I mean, yes. You know, they're human, and they're honest with me. And they're like, "Jen, okay, this has not been a good month. Just wait till you hear or see my budget sheet, or, you know, when I tell you my spending tracker sheet." And I'm like, "It's okay. You know, let's just tell me, and we've got to go forward." So, they're really open though, and a lot of them are using those spending tracker sheets, and they're open to really trying to, you know, get themselves where they need to be.
So what is a spending tracker sheet?
I know, what is this, right? So the spending tracker sheet, it's really so easy to use, and it's just a sheet, and it has categories at the top. So it would have like entertainment, dining out, household supplies, entertainment. It's more the variable expenses. So not so much like mortgage,
Right.
car payment, student loan. We call them variable expenses, so expenses that they can control. And then along the side, we date it, you know, so every month I send it out in the mail because we're not in person. We're usually just give them a copy. So every month I'm mailing out the tracker sheets. So if they go out, I tell them to save their receipts. And when they're done for the day, they bring their receipts in and they write the amount on the tracker sheets.
Okay.
So then when it comes time to meet with me and we have our budget sheet, we put the spending tracker sheets next to the budget sheet. And I'll go down the line. So how much did you spend on dining out? How much did you spend? So now they can just look at their tracker sheet and they know exactly what they've spent and they're not guessing.
And they're good about keeping those receipts and writing it all
For
down?
the most part, like I said, they're honest and they'll tell me, like, I still have to fill it in, or I did part of the month, or but they try, and a lot of them are pretty consistent about keeping it, like doing it every day, but it gets them in a habit. That's what we're trying to do. It gets them in a habit of learning to keep expenses at bay. We set up sometimes what we call little mini goals. So if their dining out is $100 a month and you're on a low income, I'll say, all right, for the month of June, what's going to be the goal? And we make it, measurable. So for the month of June, we're going to reduce it from $100 to $50 a month. And I want your eyes on the tracker sheet to be tracking
Right.
where you're at. It's exactly the
Right.
point of the tracker sheet.
Right. Dining out, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, restaurants aren't cheap.
No.
And it adds up fast, especially when you throw the tips on there. And you don't realize, to your point, it's really fun to go out.
Oh, it is.
But you don't realize just how much you're spending and how fast this mounts up. And it's interesting, with COVID, that's the one thing that my wife and I have really missed the most, because we really haven't gone out. We will order takeout and we bring it home, but we just miss being in the restaurant. And started thinking about it. I said, gee, we were going every week at least a couple of times. Now we're not going at all. I'm thinking we're probably saving a lot of money right now.
Some people have. And Harry, the other thing too you got to remember about dining out is a lot of people are going through fast food and
right.
coffees.
Oh my gosh, right.
So
sure.
all that stuff is dining out.
Right.
So they don't think that, but I'm like, no,
I
this
never would have
includes
thought of that. Yes,
coffees. You know how many people, listen, I don't drink coffee, but I have my Starbucks hot chocolate addiction, whatever. And so I'm human too, but it's hard. So it's the coffees, it's also fast food. It is also going out to a restaurant. And a lot of them, it's hard because they're working, so many hours and they have kids, and it's just easy to go through the drive-through. And I say to them, as a coach, I can never tell you what to do. That's not my job. But I'll tell them, go dine out. It's okay. But in moderation. And that's where we set an actual little miniature, like a little goal, and make it very concrete. So this is it. You told me $50. So that's it. That's it for the month of June, and that's where the tracker sheet comes in to help them track. And so it's not easy. Yeah.
I don't drink coffee. My wife is an avid. Oh gosh, she loves her coffee. In fact, I'm going shopping after this, and I have to pick her up some coffee. But I'm just curious. So when you go to, say, Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or one of these coffee places, what does a coffee cost?
Well, I don't drink coffee either, so I'm not sure. But I think from what clients have told me, it's like $1 something, maybe, depending,
Right.
or $2. I don't know. It depends on what you
Yeah,
get.
but even
I don't
if it's
drink.
$2, but you start multiplying that.
You start multiplying that,
That's
or
where it adds. It doesn't sound like a lot on a given day,
then-
but when you multiply it out,
that's right.
that's where it really starts adding
It starts
up.
adding up, and people. And I've been there too. I mean, like I said, I'm human, and you just like, all right, one more time, one more time,
Right.
it's just $1, but before you know it, it's adding up.
Right.
Same thing. It's hard with entertainment these days, but same thing with like entertainment and sometimes personal care. They're getting their nails done and their hair, and
Oh,
which
right. Sure.
I get. We want to get that done, but some are, it has to be modified to some degree so they're not living outside of their means, especially
Right.
if they're lower income.
Right.
So as the coaches, that's where we come in to really try and kind of like bring in all the finances and try, because they all go together. The budget is really important. That ties into maybe reducing your debt, which then increases your credit score. So it's all kind of, all that kind of goes together.
So is there one thing in particular that gets people into more trouble than not, or is it a number of different items that
I think there's a few different things. I think the budgeting and money management can get them into trouble because, like I said, it's like a domino effect. So if you're spending too much on one expense or more, right, then that's less. You're paying towards that and less money towards you want to increase your savings. Do you see what I mean? It goes together. Or some people are in high debt and they don't have a good credit score because their debt's too high. and their credit utilization is then too high, which is a whole other ball game that we provide a lot of educational information on as well.
Right.
So it's a few things, but again, it's trying to teach them how they kind of all interweaves and and how it all goes together. But some people have really high debt, and they really need help on trying to make a concrete plan on how to reduce that.
So is it their spending shopping habits like at the mall, or is it
Sometimes.
more food driven or meal
Sometimes
driven,
it
or
can be a lot of things, and sometimes what's hard is a challenge for me too is that if they're low income, sometimes they're just making ends meet. So in order to go food shopping or put gas in the car, they'll use their credit card because they don't have
the
money in their checking
cash.
account.
Right.
Right. So it's that balance of trying to, you have to be understanding as well as like, okay, well, they're low income but it's hard. How do we get them not to use their credit card but they need their gas and they need to go food shopping, so sometimes it's tough. It's tough because they're.
And I would guess that we're fastidious about our credit card, about paying it off every month, but the interest charges are what kill you.
Exactly.
So if you built that up, they're 18 or 20% on interest.
Higher.
Or higher.
Or higher.
Yeah,
And
you're spending a lot of money every month, but you haven't even attacked the balance of the
you haven't even attacked the balance.
Right.
So one of the things that I do with debt is one, if they can only make a minimum payment, great. Give them something, make sure it's on time. All right, because a key thing is if you miss, we do a whole educational piece around credit. Very important. But, a lot of times we'll also I've worked with clients on getting balance transfers onto another credit card. So, like I work closely with LUSO, Federal Credit Union. Doesn't have to be them. There's also, like NerdWallet is a site that I'll go on, and you can work to see if there's some card, I guess depending on their score too, some other variables, but where they can maybe get, sometimes they have like a 0% for 18 months of no interest, or at least a lower interest where they can transfer their balances from all these other cards that are like sky high. Well, when you do that and lower the interest rate, well, now when they're making a payment, even if it's minimum, at least it's going more towards the balance, and it will come down a little bit quicker. So we do work on that. Or secured credit cards for people that what we call are credit invisible and have no credit at all. Not to their fault, they just haven't started yet.
Right.
So we'll work on secured credit cards, which is sort of like a beginner credit card, to help them build their credit. So there's a lot to like debt reduction and.
Yeah. How has the COVID pandemic really affected people's finances and their ability to make ends meet?
It's been tough for some people. People, have been maybe out of work altogether. Some people, their hours have been reduced. So then it makes it hard, But now that we have some COVID relief with unemployment coming in and people getting like the extra $300, and a lot of my clients are on food stamps and they've gotten that COVID relief to increase the food stamps amount. For now, it's actually been helpful for them. But at the same time, before we got this, new stimulus package or whatever, it was tough for some of them. And United Way, this is how to thrive a little bit, but United Way, Pioneer Valley, we did a lot to really help people in the community during the pandemic.
Actually, that extra $300 that's coming in, it's somewhat controversial now.
I was just going to say it.
But are people being, at least the people that you're seeing, are they being responsible with that and using that to help pay off
some of them
bills
are actually.
And
some of them, I have to say that some of them really are. They've paid off. I have had a bunch of clients pay off credit card balances or reduce them using this extra $300 or the $100 or the stimulus money that they've been receiving. They're like, Jen, guess what? I paid off my credit card. I used the stimulus money that I got and paid this off, or I put part of it into my savings. So I have to say, a lot of them are really being smart and using it to pay off some debt or put it into their savings. Because when I talk to them, like, how'd your savings grow, like, get so high? And they're like, well, when I got my stimulus money, I put some of that into my
Oh,
savings.
that's great to hear, actually.
So they really are doing
Right.
pretty good with that, I have to say.
Well, I'm hopeful. It sounds like the job market is certainly opening up. There's a lot of places are looking for help. It's interesting that they just held a job fair here in Westfield not too long ago for businesses to help identify potential employees. So for people that don't have a job right now, or people that are looking to improve their position with their employment, this is a great time, quite frankly, to go out
It is.
and be looking for jobs.
I'm hearing actually people don't have enough help because I think people are getting unemployment,
Right.
Checks, which I know is going to end soon. And I just got an email that Mass Hire, there's a Mass Hire in Springfield and Holyoke, and their job is kind of like a one-stop job, search. I don't know if you've heard of it. They're both called Mass Hire now, and they're holding a job fair as well. So there's definitely stuff out there.
So how many clients do you work with?
A lot.
Is there a limit to? I'm guessing there must be a limit to how many you can take.
I've had no limit.
Really?
There's no set limit.
Okay.
Usually, like there was before, we had a couple other coaches that are now no longer with the United Way, but we kind of each had our own kind of caseload. But there's really no set amount that I take. If it's getting kind of full, I'll pass them over to Emmanuel. So we both have a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we still have new clients calling all the time. Even through the pandemic, we had new clients that would call.
So that's a great lead-in. How do people find you, and how do they
people find me?
contact you?
Okay, so one of the things that we do is just marketing by foot. When Westfield opened, it was actually at the Church of Atonement.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we opened up there, and we had a space in there. We had a ribbon cutting and the whole thing. So Westfield was new. And I and someone else that worked with me with Thrive would literally just market by foot and hand out flyers, to the small businesses, some of the bigger companies. So we did like marketing. I also do a lot of presentations, which there's been some virtual now, but before COVID, I did a lot of presenting.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody watching this is looking for, someone to, one of the coaches to come in and do a presentation on Thrive and really talk about what it's about and how it can be helpful, maybe even to their employees.
Mm-hmm.
So going into, let's say we used to do like childcare, or sometimes I would go into like their own meeting, like staff meeting, but it also is good for their employees as well.
Okay.
So I did a lot of presenting, and a lot of networking. So people that I'm working with now are referring to other people. I'm giving them, they like it so much. They're like, well, I just give your information. Like literally, I just got a new client. It was her sister this past week. So they're referring them on their own. Plus we also have on our website. And if people are interested, they can go to uwpv.org/thrive.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's on our social media too.
Okay. Is there a phone number that they can call, or?
Yeah, so if people want to call to make an appointment, they can call me. Again, I'm Jen Fernandez, and they can call me at 413-333-8365. And they can also call Emmanuel Reyes, and again, he's Spanish speaking, so that helps. 413-302-3871.
Okay.
Yep. So we can call either one of us, and it's so easy. They want to make an appointment? Okay, let's, I'll gather a little bit of information about them,
Right.
maybe give them a little information about Thrive, make sure they understand what it is, and set up an appointment to do the intake.
And so for anybody that is watching this, if you haven't gotten the phone numbers down, you could just go to the United Way website and find Thrive. It'll
And you
be
can find-
listed,
It will be listed.
and it'll have your contact information.
It will have the contact information. Absolutely, where it's on our site. we've put it up on Facebook. So definitely
I'll
we'll
have
be
to
up
find
there.
you on Facebook.
Yeah, find me on Facebook, Harry, and
Yeah.
come visit. Yeah.
And so you mentioned Church of the Atonement. Do you still have an office there or a presence?
We don't, because
Okay.
one, unfortunately, it was at the Church of Atonement, and then we went over to the Westfield Athenaeum, the library, which is
Oh,
going to be a little bit
sure.
more
Right.
visibility
Right.
for us. And then, like I said, I was also 3 days in Holyoke, right in downtown.
Okay.
Soon as COVID hit last year, that's it. Everything shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm in the main office
Okay.
in Springfield. Our main office is in the 1441 Main Street. It's in the
Okay.
TD Bank building.
Okay.
So I'm there now, doing them over the phone until we go back to in person. So
Wow.
yeah, up and running though.
But it works over the phone as
It really
well as it
does.
does in person. So
It really does.
Right.
I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and then the appointments go really well.
yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
It's a great program.
This has really been interesting. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to share with our audience?
I guess the one thing I want to say, Harry, besides all these concrete goals that I've talked about, like the debt reduction and all that, what's not in the flyer and kind of behind the scenes is our coaching model. And like I said, it's a confidential one-on-one
Okay.
coaching. So it's not like I said in a big group. But I want to add that if someone said, well, why is Thrive unique? I would say because pre-COVID, I would go to the bank with people. So whether it's, for whatever reason, I'm the type that, well, let's do things in person and get it done.
Right.
So, I would go to the bank if, for whatever reason it may be, they want to open up a savings account or they're having issues with whatever it may be. I would go with them because they feel supported. It's
Okay.
scary and overwhelming for some people to go to the bank and not sure what questions to ask, so I'm there to kind of
That's true.
be a support and make sure they're asking the right questions, make sure they understand
Right.
what the bank person is telling them. I would go to, let's say, Westfield or Holyoke Gas, to if people are behind, I would go with them.
Okay.
We still do this now. We do like a 3-way call, but I would make phone calls with clients, like to collection agencies or creditors, if they have stuff in collections and need to work out some kind of arrangement. So to find that for free in the community is not easy. So we provide all that. So I just wanted to make sure people understood kind of
Right.
What makes Thrive unique.
And I think people can be assured that everything's confidential, that there's
Everything's
no sharing of
confidential.
their information, because people are always concerned about sharing
Absolutely.
their financials. So
And we have a privacy statement. If there's any kind of third-party sharing, which has happened maybe once in the 4.5 years I've been here, we do it the right way with
Okay.
releases of information. And
right. And this is open to all ages,
all ages,
all people, all demographics.
all demographics.
Doesn't matter where you live,
Doesn't-
doesn't matter how much money you make.
Nope,
You know.
nope. I've had people, like I said, that are college to, I guess my oldest, I think she was like in her 70s. I've done couples.
Oh wow.
So all different, diverse backgrounds. Doesn't matter. If
Okay.
they need the help, they give us a call.
Right. Well, I think that's probably the one universal characteristic among all people is money.
It is.
You either have enough or you don't.
It's right. Money's tough.
Money's tough. Right.
It's a big part of our world.
Yeah, it really is.
So if we can help someone feel better financially, in the long run, they feel better about themselves.
yeah.
And you can see the difference when they first start to whatever down the road.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Jen, I want to thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for
This has
having me.
been really, really interesting. My guest today is Jen Fernandez, financial coach for the United Way of Pioneer Valley. And so if you feel that you're in some kind of financial difficulty, if your credit card limits are too high, you're not able to pay the balances off, and you're struggling with the interest rates, you're not able to save, you've got some higher goals of thinking about maybe buying a house and you're tired of renting, you're wondering just where your money disappears to every week. And it may be nothing more than just buying coffees or going to McDonald's or going out to a restaurant. It's amazing how fast that all adds up. This is a great opportunity for you to kind of get control of your financial life, to understand your credit scores, to understand how to start saving, and really take that pressure off of you, which we all feel when we don't have enough money in our lives. So don't hesitate to contact the United Way of Pioneer Valley. Go to their website. You can look up Thrive, and you can find Jen's information. Her phone number, again, is 413-333-8365. So on behalf of Pete Coles, the WCPC Westfield Cable Channel 15, our manager and producer for this show, I want to say thanks to Jen Fernandez for coming in. We really appreciate everything that you have shared with us. I'm Harry Rock. This has been another edition of the Westfield Council on Aging Presents. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day, everybody.